Most wine that's produced in the world is not vegan. It's Marielle from Two Vegan Lovers. Today I want to talk about a topic that is kind of surprising and a little upsetting and very confusing. So first I'm going to explain as best as I can, disclaimer, not being an expert winemaker or a scientist, explain in layman's terms why the wine that isn't vegan. And then in the end of the video, I'm gonna show you a couple wines that I've found that are vegan that I really like. A lot of people's reaction when I tell them that most wine isn't vegan is like, wait, it's just grapes. Like, how could it not be vegan? Which is what I always thought. They're like, oh, is it because there's like bugs in the grapes and then the bugs get it? And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's probably happens too, but the main reason is actually much grosser than that, if you can believe it. So I'm gonna tell you guys why most wine isn't vegan or even vegetarian. So this is when the juice has been extracted from the grapes, it's gone through the fermentation process, and you're basically left with a liquid that is almost wine. But it's very cloudy because it has lots of particles in it. They might be proteins or sediments from the grapes or any number of things, but because they're such small particles, you can't really filter them out, and so they add what's called fining agents, which help to clarify the wine. Fining agents are bigger molecules that the other smaller particles stick to. And then once they're all kind of stuck together and clumped, it's easier to filter them out. So this is where we get to the non-vegan part, because the most commonly used fining agents are derived from animals. Albumin, which is essentially egg whites, and gelatin, which as many of you probably know, is derived from boiling animal bones, cartilage, and skin. So obviously those two things aren't vegan. And gelatin isn't even vegetarian. So some other commonly used fining agents: blood and bone marrow, casein, which as you know is a milk protein, chitin, which is fiber from crustacean shells, fish oil, and isinglass, which is gelatin from fish bladder membranes. So even though the fining agents are then filtered out, arguably if any of these substances have been in contact with the wine for any amount of time, it's not vegan, and vegans aren't going to want to drink it. And furthermore, vegans aren't going to want to drink something that used animal byproducts as part of the process. However, luckily, there are a lot of things that can be used as fining agents that are not animal derived, and that is how vegan wine is made. Carbon, bentonite clay, limestone, kaolin clay, I don't know if I'm saying that right, plant casein, silica gel, and vegetable plaques. So another thing to mention is that the fining process isn't even technically necessary. If left for long enough, the wine will clarify itself, but most wineries don't want to take that time. They want to be able to bottle the wine and sell it as soon as they can, and so that's why the fining process is such an integral part of the winemaking process. It's just one of those things where it just seems like it's been done that way for so long that people are still doing it because that's just the traditional way. But I think once wineries start realizing that it doesn't change the taste or the quality of their wine whatsoever to use a different kind of fining agent, I can't see why more and more wineries won't start switching over. And a lot of them already have. In the meantime, there are a couple of wines that I have discovered that I really like that are vegan friendly. So this wine I actually first bought at 365 in LA. The label makes it look like someone is just like running this business out of their basement, which if they are, that's totally cool. But the label literally looks like it's been printed out like from someone's printer. So this wine is called Our Daily Red, and it's a red blend. This company also makes a cab, which is good, but I like the red blend better. And as you can see on here, it also says no preservatives and organic. Organic is definitely also something you want to look out for, which basically means that the grapes haven't been sprayed with pesticides. And no preservatives means that they haven't added any sulfites. So sulfites are something that wineries add to make the wine last longer once it's opened. But I think a lot of people have a bad reaction to sulfites. My theory is that a lot of what causes like wine headaches and people having weird reaction to wine, I think has to do with sulfites, because I've noticed that when I've drank wine that has sulfites in it, I kind of wake up with this like congestion thing in my nose the next day, and it's not pleasant, and I noticed that doesn't happen when I drink sulfite-free wine. I'm also going to show you the back label because this is how you know. As you can see, it clearly says vegan right here. No detectable sulfites. What does that say? Oh yeah, it also says gluten-free because why not? One thing to note when you're drinking sulfite-free wine is that the shelf life is much shorter. So on here it says enjoy within 1 day of opening. That's not, I'm telling you, I don't normally drink this whole bottle in one night, but it's taken me up to a week to drink this before, and I think it's totally fine. This is another red that I've recently discovered. It's called Spartaco. Again, organic, no detectable sulfites. As you can see, I already drank some of it. Spanish red wine. 50% Tempranillo and 50% Cabernet. I really like Cabs. And this back label gives you a lot more info. And on here, it's a little bit more tricky to see, but I'll see if you can see it in the camera. Under ingredients, it says organic grapes, and then it says vegan. So that's how you know. So yeah, those are my two favorites. I am a red wine drinker. I hardly ever drink white wine, so I'm sorry that, you know, I don't have any white wines to show you. I also want to let you in on a little secret of how to find out if your wine is vegan. If you haven't heard of this website, there is a website called Barnivore. I think it's barnivore.com. I'll link it below. It's basically a resource helping you figure out whether or not the booze you're drinking is vegan. So it's a very good resource. I am looking stuff up on there all the time. They basically do all the legwork for you. They've contacted the vineyards. They've already figured out if all these wines are vegan or not vegan. It's sort of like the go-to. So guys, I hope this video was able to educate you a little bit on the topic of vegan wine versus non-vegan wine, and maybe you'll give vegan wine a try, even if you're not vegan. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I would love to hear what some of your favorite vegan wines are, so let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Two Vegan Lovers for more videos about veganism.